Quick warning before the video. You're about to watch 13 minutes of me complaining about Shippuden, and if you like Shippuden, then that sucks. Anyway, don't get butthurt about it. I'm probably going to be talking about Boruto next. So if you like that too, then deep. Anyway, don't get triggered. That's it.
Hey, but now they tell me I switched up. Take this backwood to the face, then grab my cup. Shawty say she coming through, she on her way to fuck. It's a lot of lust, not a lot of love. Hey, I stack it up, can't get enough.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is your boy Pushy saying here, and welcome to the first ever Naruto discussion video, okay? Now, last video, I asked what you wanted to see, and a large majority of people said that they wanted to see discussion videos, and about 50% of them also said they want to see gaming videos. I think for now, I'm going to try out some discussion videos, and in the future, we'll possibly see how many gaming videos are going to come out, because I definitely want to make a couple. Because that new Spider-Man game looks fire as fuck. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the video for today. Today's video, you're starting off with Naruto, and specifically Shippuden, and why it sucks. Now, every time that I bring up how Shippuden sucks, I get a whole bunch of butthurt people replying to me, specifically in YouTubers' comment sections, and they get so salty. Because it's come to my attention that a majority of people believe that Shippuden is the highlight of the series, and I'm just like, no. So, I'm going to be listing the reasons that I really, I don't want to say I don't like Shippuden, but why it's not the strong point of the series, and why I think it's just, it's okay. Now, I'm going to get the biggest one out of the way that people love to talk about, filler. Filler's a big one. Now, if you don't know, Shippuden, about half, maybe a little less than half of the series is filler. We're sprinkled around with a couple filler arcs. There's a couple filler episodes between each arc. Then we get to the war, where literally half of it is filler. Like, if you look at the canon filler list, like half of the war is filler. And to be honest with you, I don't really have a big problem with filler, because a lot of the time, some filler are interesting. Like, if we go to like the Kakashi filler, where they go through his whole backstory of the Anbu and whatnot, a lot of that is filler. Like, of course, some of it is obviously canon, because Kakashi wasn't Anbu, and like a lot of things they say is true, but like a lot of the stories that come out of it are complete filler content. But some of the filler is actually okay, and maybe it's just me being biased about Kakashi being my favorite character and whatnot, but some of the fillers, it's decent, decent. Now, the next thing that I actually have a problem with, and it's probably my biggest problem with Shippuden, is power scaling. Jesus Christ, they just botched this one real quick. Now, I think that Kishimoto kind of forgot that Naruto is a ninja manga and not Dragon Ball. We just see these insane power-ups through the series that kind of are ridiculous, considering a year ago nobody had these powers, and every shinobi that was Jonin was considered a top-class ninja, and like was the strongest of the strongest. And then you had the Kage, which were like supposed to be like god shinobi at the time. And you get everybody looking like the Sage of the Six Paths out of nowhere. Like, Jesus Christ. My first example, I'm gonna use my favorite character, would probably be Kakashi, because he pulled the Mangekyo Sharingan literally out of nowhere, and like had like the most OP power you could have got from it. Now, this is probably the least worrisome power up in the series, because it's a Sharingan ability and they're supposed to be ridiculous anyway. But there are a lot worse ones. Like, let me sum this up for you. Let me tell you where the power scaling just goes a little too far for me. Okay, Naruto gets Rasen Shuriken. It's a ninjutsu. It's not too bad. Sure, it's really powerful and kind of over the top, but it's not too bad. It just puts him at a high-class ninja. Then Naruto gets Sage Mode. Sage Mode, it's pushing it a little bit, but since he wasn't able to beat Pain with it, which by the way is already a god-class shinobi right there, well, in my eyes at that point anyway. Then, out of nowhere, they pull out some KCM Naruto, control of Nine Tails and Nine Tails Chakra, and he's just, out of nowhere, a god tier shinobi for no reason. See, I don't like the way they handled the power scaling. I'm giving random abilities out of nowhere. I feel like if you want to make a god tier shinobi, it should be base Madara, Because if you remember base Madara, that motherfucker is just so powerful without even using jutsu. Like, he's like insane. Like, top 10 fights easily. Madara versus the Shinobi Alliance makes the list, and that's just showing basic taijutsu. The way they handled power scaling with a whole bunch of insane jutsus and transformations kind of just made it like Dragon Ball. And my biggest flaw with Dragon Ball would be the power scaling in the first place, but bringing that to a series that was so focused on ninjutsu and hand signs and all that nonsense, making fights so interesting. And like, really, Naruto at the beginning of it was about strategy and being a ninja and being smart, knowing what to do in a fight, and it just kind of turned into I'm a god, like, real quick. Now, some people like this and they think that it makes the series more interesting and makes the fights more flashy and all that, but honestly, sure, it's a fighting anime, so like that's where most people want to go for the anime's purpose. Like, they want to go watch a whole bunch of crazy fights and stuff, but I honestly find that taijutsu fights are like the most interesting fights of the series, and they don't include serious power scaling. But I guess a lot of people just like to see random flashes and blasts all over the screen. I don't know. Now, moving away from power scaling, I'm going to go to story. Now, Shippuden's story. The problem with this is the story at the beginning, like the first half of Shippuden is a complete banger. But the problem is the second half is all the same. The war is like 250 episodes around there. That's if you could include the Madara revival arc, which honestly, it's all together. It's just the war, guys. Let's be real here. Fucking, they pull Madara out of their ass out of fucking nowhere, and it's kind of just insane, but it's still technically the war because they were supposed to be fighting Madara in the first place. But you know what? Let's not get into it. It's just a whole bunch of stupidity. But the story starts off pretty good with Naruto chasing after Sasuke, as he's been doing since the end of regular Naruto. And it starts off with Naruto realizing that he's not strong enough to get Sasuke back, so he decides to train, and a whole bunch of nonsense because he wants to get his fuck buddy back. And a whole bunch of training later, he finds Sasuke, then, you know, gets beat up, and it's just, honestly, from the point where you see Sasuke and Sasuke is getting blind, I feel like the story kind of falls off from there. Because that was like right after Toby announced the war, and honestly, that's when Shippuden became trash. The biggest problem with Shippuden in total with the story, this is included into the story part, is the war. Jesus Christ, the war. The war was just boring, and we didn't get to see much fights that you actually wanted to see. Like, okay, the Sound Ninja 4 thing where they brought them back, and you were like, oh my god, it's cool. Honestly, it was a pretty lame fight. It was cool to see those characters again, but it was pretty lame. You got to see Zabuza for a solid 30 seconds before he was taken out fairly quickly. Honestly, that was some nonsense. I was trying to see my boy Zabuza in action again. Then you get to see a whole bunch of fodder ninja try and fight each other, and it's just honestly so boring. Like, the fights that they put in between Naruto getting there was so boring, and it just felt like filler even when it was canon. Like, the only part that I liked about the war's original story before Naruto even got there was Only and what he was doing and fighting to save the kids and whatnot, which honestly, I'm not even sure if that was canon, to be honest with you. Kinda all just feels like filler when you're in the war. And then Naruto gets there and he just booty rapes everybody, and you know, blah blah blah, main character power scaling, you know, a couple OP fights later, Madara shows up, and you're like, damn, Naruto's screwed. Then, you know, the Ten Tails, Jubito, and a whole bunch of other nonsense happens, and honestly, the fights in that were pretty cool, but then Naruto just had to talk no jutsu Obito like that. Like, why? I honestly hate the parts of Naruto where Naruto kind of just talks to somebody and they're like, okay, my whole evil plan, gone, out the window. It just makes little to no sense. But then we get to an actual cool part with the, you know, the whole Sage's Six Pass giving them powers and fighting type nonsense. But then they just cuck Madara. Like, why? The war arc was just kind of bland and just boring, so I don't know. I just don't like it. And it honestly ruins Shippuden for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. It pretty much ruins Shippuden. I like everything before that was okay. Like it was decent. Like the first few arcs of Shippuden were really good, and then like it just fell off. And little known fact, this is actually where the most people quit Naruto, and it was the most hyped up part of the whole anime. Why, Kishimoto? Why? But moving on from the war, the next thing is the lack of characters being shown. Now I know they show a lot of characters within Shippuden, they show them all, blah 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 blah, but do they really though? You get to see like nobody do anything except for filler arcs and then random scenes that they throw in. Can you name me anything significant that Shino did? Really? You can? Leave it down below. Now, why do I like OG Naruto more? Is just a question worth answering. First of all, fights were more intense and less focused on insane power scaling that I really don't care about. The Sharingan was not explored fully, and honestly, the mysterious part of the Sharingan is like the most important part of the Sharingan's fandom. Like, if we knew everything about the Sharingan, it's really not that interesting, it's just another power. The whole evil stigma behind Itachi was a really good part of the original series too. And honestly, the whole original series has like flaws. Yeah, sure, there's flaws to it, but not as much as Shippuden. I feel like if they just continued original Naruto and they just made him older and kept on going, and then actually, you know, made Naruto progress in a Jonin level, like not where he was just past the Jonin level within the blink of an eye, but like if he actually made it to like Jonin and like showed ninja skills and not just Nigam Goku skills, I would have liked Shippuden a lot more. Now, one way to fix Shippuden entirely is to, first of all, cut the war in half to the point where it gets horrible. Yeah, like cut it off and just, yeah, right there. Madara versus Naruto and Sasuke, keep that in. Jubito was, it's okay, leave it, you know, whatever. Kakashi versus Obito can stay, but everything in between, just get rid of it. Use Edo Tensei on better shinobi that I actually like to see a fight against. A lot of fights that we should have seen in the war between reanimated shinobi we could have got that we didn't get could have been cool and saved the war for me. I don't know about you, but that's just how I feel about it. And right after the Madara fight, don't put Kaguya. Just find a way to be Madara, and then Naruto versus Sasuke. Kaguya, no, just no. Oh, and by the way, Black Zetsu creating ninja history, really? And that's really all there is to it. Honestly, I don't really care about much else in the series. That would save it for me. And yeah, that's about it. If you hate my opinion, tell me why. If you agree with my opinion, you're an OG. And if you have something else that you want me to talk about, leave it, because it saves me the time of thinking of a video idea. Okay? Leave a like for more of me complaining about Naruto and Shippuden and, you know, explaining stuff. If you have any suggestions, I'm right there. Anyway, I'm done ranting for the day. If you liked the video, then like the video. If you want to subscribe, then subscribe. Yeah, that's about it. That's what you're saying. Later. Don't even fucking get me started on Boruto. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Hey, bitch, I pull up to your block.